Alright, so welcome back to yet another one of my interview late style reviews. Today we have someone who's going to tell you about the iPhone 8 and whether it's worth it or not in 2019. And this individual, you've seen him many times on my channel. He's helped me as kind of like a stand-in actor who holds phones and stuff. Introducing Chad Winnock. It's great to have you on here. We're going to awkwardly switch positions here. And just keep in mind, there's no other better way for me to be in the frame here, so my bad. This is like I'm like your dad, and I'm like, you see Chad. Chad is an average consumer. Don't expect him to know all of the specs and all of the words and lingo and whatever. He's just going to share his perspective and just kind of tell you from his, once again, average consumer perspective if the phone is worth it or not. So without further ado, we're going to begin with the interview.
So the last one I had was the iPhone 5S, and in comparison to that, the iPhone 8 has I think a much better build quality. I really like the glass backing, and added bonus of that would be the wireless charging, and it also just feels nice in the hand, and it's just better overall, I think. And the stereo speakers on the iPhone 8 are far superior to the ones on the iPhone 5, as the ones on the 8 seem much clearer, much sharper, and very enjoyable to listen to music on. I can do it straight from the phone, whereas with the iPhone 5S I would have to plug in headphones. It's very sharp, especially in comparison to my iPhone 5S. One thing I could say about it is I never see individual pixels, and if I do, I never notice them. The color is great. There's a wide spectrum of it. So I mostly use the display for social media apps such as Reddit, Instagram, Snapchat, and most importantly YouTube. I found no issues from that. The quality is very sharp. I can never notice individual pixels, as I said earlier. And speaking about the bezels a little bit, is some people may find an issue with them. Maybe I've just gotten used to them, but I don't see any problems with them. I've used Noah's iPhone X, and I really like that it doesn't have huge bezels, but when I just look at my phone, it doesn't really bother me to have them. Certainly a large improvement for my 5S. My 5S would be dead just like that. The battery has held up sort of nicely. I've had the phone for about 1.25 years, and the settings have told me that the battery efficiency has gone down to about 87%. It's certainly better than the iPhone 5S, but worse than my iPad. It's hard to get through the day with heavy usage, as I usually charge it about twice a day, and if I go to school, say, with about 60%, I'm coming home with about 20%, even if I don't use it all that much. When discussing the quickness of the charging, it's very good, and I usually get a few percentage points every few minutes, so it charges very quickly, and I probably only needs an hour and a half to fully charge. So speaking about the camera quality for a little bit, I'm not some professional photographer, but the iPhone 8 certainly gets the job done for what I need to. All the images look sharp and clear and nice and colorful, so I would say the camera is satisfactory. In low light, the camera lacks a little bit. Usually I'll use flash in that case, but if I'm not using flash, the image is a little bit blurry. Another point about the image quality, specifically regarding Snapchat, is it is comparable to the regular camera. However, there is some noticeable decrease, especially when you zoom in. But when both the camera and Snapchat are zoomed out, there is very little difference, and the image still turns out decently. With regard to the speed of the phone, and I know I do this a lot, but comparing it to my iPhone 5S, it is significantly faster. I've noticed as time went on, the iPhone 5S has decreased in power, and I'm sure that'll happen to the 8 as well, but even with software updates, it hasn't changed the speed of the device at all. When it comes to the UI animations, I've found that they're always very fast, very smooth. I've seen no problems, no lag at all, at least none that I could notice. With multitasking, I've noticed that even if I have a lot of apps open, there's no drop in performance, and I can go through and tap each one, and there's not a lot of reload time. Overall, I've had a really good experience with iOS my whole life, really, but especially with the iPhone 8. Another feature I really like of the iPhone 8 is the Touch ID. And when I first registered my fingerprints, it did it like that. I could unlock my phone in less than a second. But as the months went on, sometimes it wouldn't recognize my fingerprints. So once I reloaded it was back to doing it very fast. So although I don't game a lot on my iPhone 8, I do have some games that I can play when I'm bored. And I've noticed that the iPhone 8 handles it very well. No lag, no stuttering. They open fast and they play well, and they look great.
Alright, so once again, with no better way to be in the frame here, I hope this video helped you out, hope its perspective helped you determine whether or not the iPhone 8 is worth it as of this year. Still a great, compelling smartphone in my opinion. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like in this video, comment if you have any questions or suggestions, and subscribe for more content like this. And Chad, is there anyone you want to shout out?
Liam McKeever.
He has been on the channel too. Go check out his Pixel 2 XL8 review if you haven't seen it already. And other than that, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.